Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today we're going to discuss the best tax-free countries in the world that nobody is talking about. We're going to go on a different angle than we usually do because there's some typical places that we're often discussing in terms of where you can move and pay low or no tax. Okay. Today I'm going to cover 4 places where you can pay potentially zero tax or very close to it that people don't talk about, that you might think of in a different way after this video. And yeah, so it fits into this basic premise, which is often when people start thinking about where they want to go, the places that they want to go are not the places that they can optimize tax for. Right? A good example is I talk to people sometimes who say, hey, listen, I love France. I love Italy. I'd love to go and live in Italy. I have a client who told me, in his opinion, if it wasn't for the tax and the regulations, Italy's the best place in the world to live in, right? I have some people who agree with that. Some people really love the lifestyle. Other people say, hey, listen, south of France, it's amazing. France, terrible for tax, etc. So, hey, listen, I want to go somewhere else. I always think that it's a tough situation to be in, right? Because on the one hand, you want to be in the places that you want to be in. And on the other hand, you want to optimize your life and not be crazy. And of course, we can go to some other places. We could say, hey, listen, I'm going to go live on some island somewhere in the Caribbean and pay no tax. And do I really want to live there? Probably not for that long, right? Very, very few. I was looking at the comments on one of our other videos earlier today, and somebody was pointing out how Anguilla, you can go and live there for not too long, per year, and they'll give you tax residency status and have a pretty good tax rate, etc. And it's like, yeah, but the problem is, who wants to live in Anguilla for very long? Not a lot of people. Literally to the point where, I talk to people all the time about this subject, and I have some clients who've inquired and looked at that. I don't know a single person who's actually moved there. Okay, so it tells you a little bit about people's preferences. It's one of the reasons why Dubai is super popular today, is because it's like the one world-class cosmopolitan city in the world where they just have clean, straight up zero tax, right? It's one of the reasons why people find Monaco popular, right? You're still in the south of France, you have this zero tax regime. Okay, there's some trade-offs, it's a little bit small, it's very expensive, etc., but hey, it's pretty attractive. Today we're going to talk about some that are the types of places that people, broadly would view. Now, whether you view it or not as being the ideal places, that's a whole other conversation, but really good places where you can go and you can live there and you can potentially pay zero tax or close to zero tax, okay? Let's dive in. Before we do that, if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button, nail the notification bell. Really appreciate your support. If you like the videos, please share them with your friends. We're trying to grow the channel, check out our other videos. And if you would like help at all with international structuring, with relocating personally or setting up your company abroad, pay lower taxes, protect your assets, bank abroad, create plan B, all that sort of stuff, residencies, citizenships, companies, bank accounts, implementation, or strategy, please reach out to us. You can book a call with me, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer, link in the description below, or check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net and offshorecapitalist.com. All right, so where should we start? We are going to start with UK. Now, all of these places, you're going to say, what? This is like crazy. So UK is a really attractive place to go by many respects, right? By many respects, it is very attractive to UK. I mean, there's immigrants trying to get in there all the time. London is a fantastic city. There's lots to offer. Things tend to work fairly well. Okay, some people might say, there's waiting in the healthcare and we have some problems with it. Overall, I mean, there's a reason it's considered to be a first world country. Some people like that as English speaking, etc., right? So this is a very functional, very desirable by global standards country. And I think this is an important thing, right? There's a lot of people who are going to look at some place like Georgia and say, it's just not there yet. It's not developed the same way. Things don't work as well. I can't go on Amazon and get something the same day or the next day, etc., 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 right? London, or UK broadly, you've got all of that kind of thing. And by the way, this is one of the reasons I find Portugal is really popular today, is because people kind of view it as this mid place, right? They're like, well, it's maybe not my ideal, but it's good enough, right? It's a place that, hey, I can like it there. It's, pretty good quality of life. It may not be amazing in terms of the services. Okay, the healthcare is, okay, but not great. The infrastructure is pretty good. Community, pretty good, etc. Is it my ideal? Maybe not, but it's pretty good. And, I can also get tax optimized there. Okay, it's maybe tricky, and, I might have to plan around it, but it's better than paying 40% tax, right? Well, what is the deal in UK? The UK has this resident non-dom program, okay? This has some time limits to it before you start paying some tax, and then after a little bit longer, the tax rate goes up. I've done some videos on this. You can go and check it out. And it only applies for foreign income, which is not remitted into UK, okay? This being said, if you're somebody who has, a large company, you're somebody who has a lot of investments, etc., you can potentially move to UK and live there tax-free. So pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Number 2 place is its neighbor. Turns out Ireland has the same concept, right? Again, I would say Ireland is less popular, and I don't hear people talk about Ireland as much. However, Ireland can be incredibly attractive for a lot of people. Again, it's a fast-growing place. A lot of businesses have just relocated from London to Dublin due to Brexit. There's, things work, infrastructure works. It's a pretty functional country. They have relatively decent policies, etc. And they also have a non-dom program. So what does this mean? This means if you move there as a foreigner, you get set up there, you can potentially not pay any tax on your foreign income if you don't remit it into Ireland. Okay, so the big thing is you have to not be what they call domiciled there. You can be resident, you can live there all year round, but so long as you don't bring the money in, you can keep it in a foreign bank account and a capital account. There's some ways that we plan it out and make that work. You can potentially pay 0 tax. Again, depends on your source of income, it's tricky, etc. Make sure that it's fine. But if you're somebody who has a business that it doesn't need you to work in it, you have enough cash that you can come in, maybe you're going to bring a few $1 million with you when you move there, and you're like, hey, look, I'm going to be good for the next 5-10 years. And in the meantime, maybe I'm working towards Irish citizenship, etc. This could be a really attractive option for you. Okay. Brings us to our 3rd place, which is New Zealand. Okay. Again, widely considered to be, a very attractive country, right? A country that works really well. Things are, clean. It's a safe place. It's removed from things if you're worried about, political instability and wars or something like that. It's, way out there. Very, very beautiful country if you're into nature and hiking, etc. Okay, maybe, depending on what your preferences are in terms of weather. And it's difficult to, your options in terms of moving there might be difficult, but you can move there and you can get a tax exemption on your foreign income for 4 years. Very attractive. Almost makes it worth it for a lot of people to say, hey, listen, I'm going to go and I'm going to live there for 5 years to get their passport. And for those years, if I can avoid paying taxes, if I pay taxes in the 5th year, I can probably defer it anyway. There's some things like this. That's pretty good, right? Pretty good. This brings us to our last one, which you can't actually have 0 tax. So in all those other 3, what you could do is just have no local income, right? If you're in a situation where you can say, hey, listen, I come to the country with enough money, I set myself up so that all my income is foreign, I'm going to be here for whatever period of time. Again, New Zealand, okay, it's only 4 years that you get that, but still, could be pretty good. Again, in UK, there's, after a certain number of years, you start paying a little bit of tax on it as like a flat tax, and then after longer, you pay a little bit higher flat tax. Okay, it's not forever, but on the other hand, you can do that, and then eventually you can leave, and you can claim that, and you could go to the next country, right? You could start in UK, then you could go to Ireland, then you could go to New Zealand. This last one, you can't do that because you're required, in order to kind of qualify for this program, you need to have some local income, it's earned income, and you're going to pay tax on it. That being said, it could be pretty good, and it's a desirable place. And this is Spain. Okay, Spain is normally terrible for tax. Terrible for tax. One of the worst places. I'll have some people who will come to me and when you leave, when you like all these things. It's an awful place for tax. This being said, they have something called the Beckham Law, and under the Beckham Law, for 6 years, your foreign income cannot be taxable, which is crazy good, right? You can basically be taxed like a non-resident while you're a resident, meaning that your local source income is taxable, your foreign income is not, and you can live there. You have to, basically, in order to qualify for this, you have to have a certain earned income, and you're going to end up paying tax on that. But as a percentage of your overall income, that might be quite small, right? And again, you could come with a bunch of money and set up there and live a pretty good life for a bunch of time, and then you can decide from there, okay, do I want to stay under this? Do I want to get out? Well, that's a whole other conversation. So anyway, those are 4 places that I think people don't often think about, and maybe they're not for you, right? There's a whole bunch of reasons not to like these 4 places. There's a whole bunch of reasons to have issues with them, but there's also a whole bunch of things to like. There's a reason why a lot of people from all over like to go to Spain, right? They say, hey, I like the weather, I like Barcelona, I like Valencia, I like Marbella. If you read the expat surveys, the favorite places in the world, some of the, like the top few, tend to be in Spain and south of Spain. There's reasons why people every year are trying to get into London, you know, to go and be in UK and be UK resident and citizen. By the way, you could do these and qualify for a good citizenship, right? Then leave afterwards. Usually when you get the citizenship, you will end up starting to trigger tax, but that being said, you know, you can go there and it's pretty good. Again, could be difficult to get in if you're willing to pay in all these places, it's easy to get in. It's just a question of, you know, are you willing to make the investment, right? Ireland, same deal. Like we're talking about Ireland is maybe the best passport in the world right now, certainly one of them, just because it gives better access to UK and gives access to the EU. So yeah, hope that helps. Tell me if I've missed any. These ones are ones that particularly I think stand out. And obviously there's some things you could do with Singapore. I did a video on tax optimizing for Singapore. Obviously there's Dubai, which is, you know, its own special thing. And, you know, you have Monaco and some of these others. I've done videos on them for a while. So I wanted to bring up these ones that are kind of unusual. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If not, tell me why in the comments. Again, if you need some help, please smash the subscribe button. Please reach out to me. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.